Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day so far and a great start to your week. Today I am getting ready to switch out my everyday makeup drawer with some new products. This is where I go through my collection and pick out products that I'm feeling really inspired to reach for over the next couple of weeks. I mostly focus on older products and seasonal products, and I always like to pick sort of a theme or just like an intention for my everyday makeup drawer, and this one is going to be just cozy makeup. We just turned the clocks back an hour, as I know many of you probably have if you live somewhere that does daylight savings. The sun is now setting at like 4:45 p.m. here in Seattle, so that is an adjustment as always, but I'm just trying to really lean into the cozy vibe. So maybe it's also time for you to refresh your everyday makeup drawer or your makeup basket, whatever that looks like for you. And if so, maybe you can join me in picking out just the makeup that feels cozy to you. But first, I want to give you a recap on the products that were in my drawer for the last rotation, the last couple of weeks, show you a couple of looks that I created with these products, and then we will pick out some new things, and then we'll do a little get ready with me at the end using those new products. Oh, also I forgot to mention, I did a little bit of reorganizing of my makeup collection yesterday, and I'm excited to show you how it looks. It looks so much better than it did before. I'm really happy with it. Alright, so here is a look at my everyday makeup drawer. This is where I keep my My Stash items, also my project pan items, and just things that permanently live in here. So some of these things will be staying in, but let's start with this palette. This was the palette that I chose for My Stash this past month. This is one of my favorite fall palettes, the Estate Mystic Forest palette. I mean, just look at that grungy fall goodness there. I did a look with this in my last everyday makeup drawer video at the end of that video, so if you want to see that, I did a very like olive-y, grungy look, so fun. But I used this quite a few more times. I'll pop some photos on the screen here on the side so you can see some other looks that I did, but I had a lot of fun with these warm toasty colors. I don't often go super warm with my crease shades, but as you can see, this has some very mustardy shades, and I really enjoyed pushing myself out of my comfort zone and playing with some colors that I don't often use on my eyes. I normally feel like olive tones and mustard colors don't look super flattering on my skin tone, but something about this palette just gives me the confidence to pull them off, and I feel like I actually can pull those colors off pretty well when I just try something new, so go figure. Pretty much every time I use this palette, I use this shade right here, Fairy Dust, this beautiful olive bronze shade. I cannot get enough of that color. So that was a ton of fun to play with this month, and I'm sure I will continue using this throughout the rest of the fall, but I do want to give some more of my fall palettes some attention as well. So this is going to go back into my collection. I also had chosen this highlighter. This is my Becca highlighter in Champagne Pop. This is such a classic. I love this highlighter so much. If you watched my most recent Project Pan update, I recently rolled this in. After putting it in my everyday makeup drawer, I just realized I was enjoying it so much, and it's such a great tone for the fall and winter. I love a warm golden highlight this time of year. So this is going to be staying in the drawer because this is now part of my Project Pan. So yay. However, this is a Project Pan item that I will be taking out of the drawer. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. As you can see, I hit my goal of hitting pan on this, which I'm so excited about. I just love seeing my expensive products getting well loved. And now that I've hit pan on this, I have rolled it out of my Project Pan, so I am going to take it out of my everyday makeup drawer and pull in a different bronzer that I want to get some use out of. So that's going to go back into my collection as well. All right, ooh, switched hands because this one was getting tired of holding the camera. But these are the two blushes that I had picked out last rotation. So this is my Kokie Soft Gradient Blush in Bellissima. This is one of my favorite products of the year. I mean, this will almost certainly be included in my Best of 2022 video. I have just fallen head over heels with this tone of blush. Almost like a red ochre color, like a burnt red, but I am going to put it back in my collection and pick out something else that I haven't used in a while. And then I also had the Minori Cream Blush in Scarlet, which is another red. Loving this as well. This is a beautiful cream blush formula, very lightweight, thin, not sticky, but also it's not like a cream to powder or anything. It's just very lightweight, comfortable, sheer but buildable. Absolutely love that. But I've also noticed I've just been getting more into powder cheek products. That's pretty much all that I've been in the mood to use lately. Haven't been so much into cream products, and I think this happens around this time every year as we get into the colder months. I just prefer powder cheek products, which I know sounds counterintuitive because in the winter, that's normally when your skin gets more dry. You would think that, you know, cream products, they're more hydrating, you would want to use those in the winter, but for some reason, I think it's because this is the time of year where I get more into more glam makeup looks. For some reason, I feel like powder cheek products just lend themselves better to that. And I don't feel like my cheeks are a big problem area for dry skin. So I think I'm just going to lean into that, maybe take a break from my cream cheek products. There's no reason to force yourself to use cream products if you're not feeling it. So I'm probably going to swap in some powder blushes instead. So I'm going to put both of these back. Then we have my 3 lip products that I'd picked out. These were a ton of fun. This was my out of my comfort zone lip product. This is the Urban Decay Vice Lip Bond in the shade Once Strangers, which is a very vampy brown shade. That is what that looks like. I've talked before about how I'm not a huge fan of this formula. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. But I do really like this color in the fall. It's very vampy on my skin tone, and I just think it's fun. It's like a deep chocolate brown, but it does have a bit of a red undertone to it that I just think is really fun. So I'm glad I rolled that in because I actually did wear it several times. You saw me wearing it in a couple of different videos this month, and I actually really like the look on my lips. And then of course I also chose a couple of nude lip products. These are both from BK Beauty. I had their lip liner in Warm Spice, a great fall lip liner, and their lipstick in Kindness, which is one of my favorite peachy pink nude lipsticks. So there on the top is Warm Spice. Actually, quite a few times I wore just that on my lips, and sometimes I wore it just by itself, sometimes I topped it with my clear gloss that's in my Project Pan. It's a little bit more warm and brown than I typically go for an all over the lip color, but I had fun with that. It was a fun fall nude shade. And then when I wanted to lighten up the center of the lip a little bit, that's when I pulled in the shade Kindness, which is that middle color right there. So all 3 of those lip products I really enjoyed. Finally, for my previous rotation, I'd pulled in 2 eyeliners, and I want to keep picking out a couple of eyeliners to put in my everyday makeup drawer each time because eyeliner is one of those categories of my collection where I really like having a variety of products, different colors, finishes, things like that. I just find it fun. But that does mean I want to make a point to rotate through and make sure I'm using them all. So I am going to make sure to continue pulling in like 1 or 2 liners each time I do a new everyday makeup drawer. So anyway, the first one I had here was the CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus liner in the shade Gray Khaki, which was a beautiful color. That's the one on the top there. It's kind of hard to see. Let me bring you to the natural light. It's a beautiful taupey khaki color. I wore that quite a few times, mainly on my lower lash line. I would just kind of smudge it across the lower lash line. And if you saw my video on tips to repurpose eyeliners and mascaras, I actually used this in my brows, and it ended up being a perfect shade match. I was kind of shocked. I wasn't sure how well it would work. I was afraid it would pull kind of green in my brows, but it really didn't. It looked perfect in my brows. So I'm glad I tried that because that is good to know. And then I'd also pulled in my Flower Beauty For Everywhere winged liner, which is a felt tip winged liner here. I really like the tip of this. I feel like it just makes it so easy to basically just stamp on a wing. It comes to a really nice point, and it's flexible enough that it just moves with your eye shape. It's really, really nice. And that is that bottom shade right there. You can see it is a true brown. I really like the tone. But I use this all the time. I used to use black liquid liner more often, but now I almost always use this instead of my black winged liners. All right, so those are all the products that are going to be going back into my collection, and now let's go ahead and pick out some new goodies. Okay, so here's what I'm so excited to show you guys. I switched up my palette organization. So previously this drawer didn't have really much of anything in it, just had a few odds and ends like false lashes, random tools, and I had my palettes temporarily stored in that bottom shelf of my decorative shelf there. But I decided I want them to be close to me when I'm getting ready so that I just have easy access to them, because I felt like when they were over there, I just kept forgetting about them. So this is much better. This isn't all of them. I do have some of them down here in this bottom drawer. So I do have some skincare and body care backups in here, but then I also have some palettes that are kind of more like spring and summer palettes to me. I'm not super likely to reach for these this time of year. Some ColourPop ones, BH Cosmetics, my pastel palette, my Clarity Summer Amazing, and then my singles. So I can still reach into these if I want to, but they also just didn't quite fit in here. So once the seasons change, I will probably switch this out and have, you know, some of these down here and switch these back up here. But yeah, really happy with this organization right now. So let's see what I want to pick. Okay, Soft Glam is one that I really haven't given much love recently. This is such a classic fall palette, fall color story. I've been telling myself I'm gonna put this in my everyday makeup drawer at some point this fall, and I feel like now is the time. This does make me feel cozy, going back to that cozy theme that we are focusing on this round. Lots of comfort zone shades in here, as you can see, but there's also quite a few warm tones, which, as I mentioned before with the Mystic Forest palette, I've just been really digging warm tones on my eyes recently. So I think this is going to be a perfect palette to roll in, and maybe I can even do some looks with both this and Norvina, my Pan That palette. I feel like those two together might make a really pretty pairing. All right, but I was also just realizing I should pick one of my magnetic singles to put here in this single Z palette that I have as a complementary shade to go with this palette, and I'm thinking I want to do this one right here. This is the shade Smoking Mirrors from Clarity Cosmetics. No, oh my god. Oh no, I just dropped it, please hold. Okay, I think I fixed it. Luckily, it's a very squishy shadow, so I was able to just press it back down in there with my fingers, and it seems to be okay. These Clarity shadows are quite fragile, so I'm gonna just be very gentle with this. But there's a swatch of that. I feel like the camera is not doing it justice at all, but it's like a silver and golden champagne duochrome. Is that a better look? Okay, that's slightly better. Yeah, you can kind of see how subtly shifty it is. Yeah, love that. And I think that'll make a good little complement to the Soft Glam palette. So that'll be a good way to get some more use out of the single, because I am always overlooking my magnetic singles. All right, next category is face products. This is always a fun one as well. So one thing that I want to pull in is actually my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, because I want to experiment with mixing this with my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer that I'm trying to use up. I really enjoyed mixing this with my LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer for a foundation, like as an all-over base product. So I'm going to try that with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and hopefully that'll be a good way to use up that concealer once and for all. Not gonna roll any other foundations or concealers in because I already have those in my project pan and I just want to focus on those. And like I said, I am just in the mood to use powder cheek products, which is what this container is for, so this is what I'm gonna pull from. For bronzer, I am going to pull in my Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. This is a great slightly cooler toned bronzer, and I would just really like to see some more usage on this, some more progress. I've had this for a while and I feel like it still looks almost barely used. The imprint is still very prominent. So I recently did remove some hard pan on this because I do feel like this product is prone to hard pan, like between the little ridges of those like rays of sun or whatever that's supposed to be. Tends to get hard pan, which is kind of annoying, but I just removed that, so hopefully this will be good as new. So that is going to be my bronzer for this rotation. Next we have highlighters here. I'm going to grab, you know I'm tempted to grab these Aether ones. I'm going to grab my Nabla Skin Glazing highlighter. This is a beauty, isn't it? Yeah, gorgeous golden peachy highlighter. Of course I do have my Becca highlighter in the drawer as well in my project pan, but I want to grab this one too and use this whenever I'm not using that one because I just feel like it's been a while and I love this highlighter. It's one of my favorites. Okay, and then here are my powder blushes. The one that I think I need to pull in is my Essence, the blush in the shade Befitting. I was looking at a lot of these other ones, and a lot of these are more, to me, like spring and summer colors, except for these two. The Koki one, which was already in my drawer just now, and this flower one, which I was also thinking about, but I think it's a little bit too cool toned to go with the Soft Glam palette, so this is the one I'm going to reach for because this is just the most perfect blush. It goes with everything. The shade is called Befitting, and you can see it's just, I mean, it's like a soft, dusty rose, very neutral toned, and I just think it's going to go with everything. A chunk of it did fall out when I dropped it recently, but luckily the rest of it has stayed together really well, so that is going to be my blush. I just love this one. You just can't beat it, and it's like $4. All right, so that is my face drawer, and now take a look at my lip drawer. I reorganized this too. This looks so much better than it did before. Okay, so I actually now have my lip liners in here too, just because I don't feel like I need to keep them in a cup anymore because I don't really have that many, and I I like that I can just see them all in this container here. So let me pick out my other lip products first, and then I'll pick out a lip liner. For my gloss, because the theme of this Shop My Stash is cozy makeup, I have to pick my Minori gloss in cozy because it's in the name. And this is just such a great fall shade also. It's very sheer on the lips, but it has this really subtle shimmer to it, kind of a brownish rose gold. I love it. So that's gonna be my gloss. Oh yeah, so I didn't really explain this system here beyond the lip liners, but this is like lip glosses, lip stains, and just like sheer lip products, tinted lip balms, that sort of thing. And then back here is all of my lipsticks. And I think it just looks so nice in here. Okay, so I've been on the vampy lip train, as you know, and one of my favorite vampy lips, this is the shade Olvera from the Urban Decay Vice lipstick line, and it looks like, I guess in the tube it looks like just any old red, but let me just swatch this for you. So you can see there, it's a fiery orange red. They call it a blood orange. I think this is so pretty in the fall. It just makes me think of all the like bright orange red leaves we're seeing right now, and I love it. I know it looks kind of bright on my hand, but on the lips it does pull a lot more vampy. So that is going to be my vampy lip. And then to go with that, I'm going to grab my red lip liner. This is the shade True Red. It really is a true red. A little bit more of a true red than that lipstick, but it'll be good to just kind of outline my lips and keep the lipstick staying in place longer. Okay, I had to go dig this out of my purse, but this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Core Lip Shine in the shade Happy, and I have been just loving this lately. It's basically a tinted balm. There's a swatch. Perfect My Lips But Better color for me. And this is like the definition of a cozy lip product. It literally feels like a lip balm on my lips, feels very nourishing. And I don't really have to worry about keeping up with my lip product because, you know, it just fades right into the natural color of my lips, and it's so pretty. So that's going to be my other more like nude lipstick that we pull in. All right, and then last but not least, like I said, I also want to pick out an eyeliner. I think I want to bring in this eyeliner. It's just another brown pencil liner, but I want to give this some use. This is the CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus in Espresso, which is a great deep brown, which I think is perfect for the soft glam looks that I'm going to be doing. All right, let's go ahead and play with these new products, old new products. I'm gonna start with my eyeshadow. I've just been getting in the habit of doing my eye makeup first lately, and it really is better for me. I like it better. So I'm just going in with my eyeshadow primer, the CoverGirl Lid Lockup. This seems to be running low. I wonder if I can finish this by the end of the year. All right, so the look is mainly going to feature soft glam since that's the main palette, but I think I might also try to dip into Norvina at least a little bit because I'm really trying to make some progress on this before the end of the year. I have now hit pan on 8 out of 14 shades, which is pretty good, but I'm trying to hit pan on a couple more. So I'm gonna focus mainly on the warm tones in here because I also want to coordinate with my sweater, my cozy sweater. This is one of my favorite sweaters. First, I am going to set my lid with Tempera, and then I'm gonna go in with Burnt Orange in my crease. You know, I actually just decided I think I want to do an all matte brown eye look. I've actually been really enjoying all matte eyeshadow looks lately. I really like the look of just a matte brown eyeshadow look in the fall. So I think that's what we're going to do today, and I will, of course, put some shimmer in my inner corner at least, but the look will mostly be matte. So I think Rustic is going to be my lid shade. I think I've done this before. I might have done this in my 1 week 1 palette with this that I did last year, something similar to this. Which, by the way, I can link that video below where I did 7 looks with this palette if you have it and you're looking for some inspiration. I hope this isn't too dark. Let's see. It's always a little jarring to see such a deep shade all over my lid, but I do think once I have face makeup on and everything, it'll look a little less shocking. Now I'm going to take some of Orange Soda to blend that out. And lately I have just been letting my eyeshadow go up close to the brow bone. I don't really care so much about having a definitive space between the eyeshadow and the brow bone. I kind of just let it all blend up there. Okay, so I'm not in love with the way this looks right now, but I am not going to lose hope. I think it'll tie together in the end. So for my base, I'm going to try this combo, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I've never tried this combination before. I think I'm going to mix them together on the back of my hand. So I'm just taking a couple dabs of concealer here, not that much. So I did about equal parts Flawless Filter and e.l.f. concealer. And now I am going to just mix those together. Let's see how this does. And I'm going to blend it out with my sponge because that is the most foolproof method of blending out foundation for me. And by the way, the sunscreen that I have on underneath this today is the Kopari SPF 30 mineral sunscreen that I really love. My face has been breaking out a little bit because I think the Australian Gold tinted sunscreen, unfortunately, I did like it, but it seems to break me out. So that's why I have some residual breakouts here. Ugh. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I think next time I might do a little bit less e.l.f. concealer and a little bit more Flawless Filter because it's a teeny bit heavy looking. Well, I don't know. I do feel like it looks a little bit heavy like around my nose on my cheeks, but really not much. I actually think it looks pretty good. All right, and then for my under eye concealer, I'm also just going to use the e.l.f. concealer on its own. I do have to say, it seems like it's getting a little bit harder to pick anything up on the applicator, so maybe we're getting closer to the end here. I really like how this EcoTool sponge has this flat edge because I can just easily like clean up the edge of my eyeshadow here when I apply concealer. It just makes it so easy. Just taking whatever's left on my sponge to bump up the coverage on my breakouts. And then the nice thing about the fact that I'm going to be using powder cheek products is that I can go straight in with powder now. So I'm going with my coziest Cloud Set powder. Why do my brushes have so much cat hair on them all the time? I think my cats must jump up on my desk and they must like brush against the brushes and then their hair just gets stuck in it. Every time I pick up a brush, I have to like remove the cat hair. It's next up for the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer. It's a nice subtle bronzer. It goes on pretty sheer, honestly, like, which I kind of like because I don't want to have a overly pigmented bronzer, but I definitely am really swirling my brush in there to pick it up. All right, so next up for this Essence blush. That's just so pretty. Whenever I don't know what other blush to use, I just use this one because I always know that it's gonna go well with whatever else I'm wearing. And lately I have been blending it up to like the outer corner of my under eye. It's almost like as I'm blending out these cheek products, the concealer and Hollywood Flawless Filter combo is almost separating and lifting up in a weird way, which doesn't usually happen with powder products. So, yeah, I don't know about that. Next up, I'm gonna use my Nabla Skin Glazing Highlighter. Oh, I love this so much. Definitely one of my more subtle highlighters, but it gives this beautiful glassy finish and it builds on itself really nicely. I feel like I can put a decent amount of this on the tip of my nose and it doesn't necessarily look like I have highlighter on my nose, you know, it just looks like a very smooth glassy finish. All right, here's my recent brow routine that I have been so happy with. So I'll take some of my ABH Dip Brow Pomade, still going strong, like 3 years in, and I just apply that to the tail of my brows and kind of just to define the arch, like the under part of the arch. Then I brush that through. This brow has been misbehaving a lot lately. And then I take my NYX Thick It Stick It Thickening Brow Mascara in Cool Blonde, and this is all that I use in the front of my brows. It really does fill in those areas. Like, just look at this. And I take it through the tail as well. I feel like this brow... Okay, don't look at this one. This brow is just... It doesn't want to behave no matter what, but this side will look good. I'll have to clean that up in a second. You do have to be kind of careful not to get it outside of your brows. I mean, you can always just kind of, you know, wipe it away with your finger, but, you know, definitely make sure to keep the brush where you want the pigment to go. But it really does just fill it in so well. Like, if I don't have the time to even use pomade or any other product in my brows, I'll just use this, and I'm actually happy with the way that my brows look, even without any other product in them. So yeah, I've never found a tinted brow gel quite like this, and I've really been enjoying it. I can see how it's not for everyone though, and you do want to be careful not to apply too much. Like, you don't want to go back in a second time, because then it will start to get sticky and it'll get too gloopy. So just do like one pass through your brows. I am going to take a little bit of my NYX Lift and Snatch over here just to clean up some areas. Things are coming together. Let's revisit this eye look. Blending. I haven't picked up any additional shadow on this brush. I'm just blending out the crease a little bit more. So for my inner corner, I want to use Glistening. I just love this shade. As you can tell, it has massive pan. This is going to be my inner corner highlight. I like to take it up, especially if I'm doing an all matte lid, I do like to take it up into the inner crease and just the inner corner of my lid. All right, I am going to use that CoverGirl eyeliner pencil that I pulled in, but I also want to do sort of a smoky brown liner on the top lashes. So I'm going to pick up some of Cypress Umber on this flat eyeliner brush from e.l.f. and just start to smudge it across the outer part of my upper lash line. I've really been enjoying this flat eyeliner brush from e.l.f., by the way. Alright, so that I can dip into at least one of my focus shades from Norvina. To remind you, these are the two shades I am focusing on this month. I'm going to take some of Incense. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to take a mix of both and apply that to my lower lash line. Alright, going back into Tempera to just clean up this area really lightly. I've really been going pretty light with the brow bone highlight these days. I don't feel like it's 100% necessary, but I do like to just sort of clean up that area. And I also like to clean up this area. You know what? I'm going to take some of this Clarity Single, the shade Smoking Mirrors that I pulled in. I'm going to just tap a teeny bit of this onto my inner corner. Just for a little bling, you know? What the heck, I'll take a little bit onto just the innermost corner of my lid. Alright, so I'm going to take this CoverGirl liner in Espresso and really just tight line with this. Alright, I think I'm actually going to try these two products together, the e.l.f. Hydrating Core Lip Shine in Happy and the Minori Gloss in Cozy, just to see how that looks. They are both somewhat glossy. Kind of just want to see. Alright, now with the gloss. I do feel like the gloss actually warmed up the lip just a little bit, because I felt like it was almost maybe a little bit too mauve for the eye look, but now I feel like that works. I like that. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed seeing these products in action. I'm so excited to keep using these throughout the next couple of weeks. If you want more videos like this, I will link below my Shop My Stash playlist where I have a bunch of videos that I've done just like this. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had fun. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do also have a YouTube membership and a Patreon if you would like to show your support that way. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.